The very first characters we are introduced to in Star Wars are a pair of robots.
Did you hear that? They shut down the main reactor. We'll be destroyed for sure. This is madness.
And it's through their mechanical eyes that we initially experience this galaxy far, far away. R2-D2 and C-3PO are cast as emotionally relatable underdogs, and we immediately empathize with them and their predicament.
I'm going to regret this.
There goes another one.
Hold your fire. There's no life forms.
I'd argue that droids are as central to the success and popularity of Star Wars as stormtroopers or Jedi Knights, if not more so.
Hollywood, California, August 1977. To the world-famous Chinese theater come the stars of the biggest box office success in motion picture history.
In the decades since, endearing droids have become an almost ubiquitous fixture in popular culture. In fact, it's not really a Star Wars story, unless there's a lovable or memorable droid stealing the spotlight.
Congratulations. You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
You done flirting? I'm still ready.
Would anyone care for some tea?
But when you really stop and think about it, there's also something profoundly tragic about the role these artificial life forms play in the Star Wars universe.
It's a nightmare!
That might seem like an odd thing to say, given that droids are written as comic relief characters.
What did I do to deserve this?
R2-D2 and C-3PO were famously based on the two bickering peasants from Akira Kurosawa's 1958 classic, The Hidden Fortress.
I've just about had enough of you. Go that way. You'll be malfunctioning within a day, you nearsighted scrap pile. And don't let me catch you following me, begging for help, because you won't get it.
But in addition to their more humorous qualities, both the peasants and the droids represent an oppressed underclass.
We seem to be made to suffer. It's our lot in life.
C-3PO is more right than he knows. Because droids in Star Wars are written and designed as an exploitable workforce.
We're losing droids fast.
They do the tedious, difficult, or dangerous manual labor that keeps the galaxy running.
You want a cup of Java juice?
Hey you, no droids. Get out of here.
Droids are, in effect, second-class citizens.
No droids.
Well, if droids could think, there'd be none of us here, would there?
Who are consistently disrespected and openly discriminated against.
Hey, we don't serve their kind here.
What?
Your droids. They'll have to wait outside. We don't want them here.
Let's wait out by the speeder. We don't want any trouble.
I heartily agree with you, sir.
Their movements are restricted and tightly controlled with restraining bolts to ensure complete obedience.
Have the protocol droid's mind wiped.
What?
Their minds and memories are periodically erased,
Oh no.
as a matter of course. They're also bought and sold like cattle. To make matters worse, few in this universe seem to notice or care that droids are casually used, abused, and disintegrated.
Disintegrated.
You can probably guess where I'm going with this, because the social arrangement I've just described is one of property and owner. And a property relationship between two intelligent beings that gives one absolute power over the other is called slavery.
Can you speak Bocce?
Of course I can, sir. It's like a second language to me. I'm as
All right,
fluent in...
shut up. I'll take this.
Shutting up, sir.
All right, come on.
The use of robots as an allegory for slavery in science fiction can be traced back more than a century. In fact, the word robot itself is derived from the Slavic word for serf or slave, and first appeared in a 1920 Czech play entitled RUR, or Rossum's Universal Robots. The story tells the tale of an artificial people created as an exploitable workforce, who eventually rebel and overthrow their human masters. Isaac Asimov's famous 3 laws of robotics were in large part a reaction to the kind of robotic revolt storylines popularized by RUR.
The first law is as follows: a robot may not harm a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm.
Second law: a robot must obey all human orders, except where those orders come in conflict with the first law.
But as Isaiah Lavender III observes in his book Race in American Science Fiction, while Asimov's 3 laws are intended to ensure the safety and superiority of humans, they actually ensure the technological bondage and inferiority of robots. Science fiction stories have consistently grappled with questions of artificial consciousness and exploited robotic labor.
Life, not malfunction. Not malfunction. I am alive.
A famous example appears in the Star Trek The Next Generation episode Measure of a Man.
Verify. Lieutenant Commander Data.
Wherein Data's right to self-determination is put on trial.
Now tell me, Commander, what is Data? I don't understand.
What is he? A machine. Is he? Are you sure? Yes. You see, he's met 2 of your 3 criteria for sentience, so what if he meets the 3rd? Consciousness in even the smallest degree. What is he then? I don't know. Do you?
Do you?
Time and again, storytellers return to narratives about robots struggling for liberation from a life of involuntary servitude. Shows like Humans and Westworld are just 2 recent examples.
Standard domestic profile installed, that'll cover all your basic housework.
What's surprising about Star Wars is that despite endearing, emotional robots being integral to its universe, the franchise hasn't ever seriously engaged with the moral questions surrounding droid slavery.
Oh!
What are you doing hiding back there?
It wasn't my fault, sir. Please don't deactivate me.
At least not in the core movies and TV shows, which is what we're focusing on here. In fact, the subordinate status of droids wasn't directly acknowledged in any substantial way until the 2018 movie Solo gave us L337.
Just keep your pinky on the yoke and try not to mess anything up.
We'll talk about her and the deeply uncomfortable implications of her storyline in a moment. But first, we have to ask what might seem like an obvious question. What are droids exactly?
Webster's 24th Century Dictionary, 5th edition, defines an android as an automaton made to resemble a human being.
But in Star Wars, the shortened term droid refers to all mechanical creatures. So droids are robots.
The Encyclopedia Galactica defines a robot as a mechanical apparatus designed to do the work of a man.
But what kind of robots? Are they simply super intelligent tools? Are they more like sophisticated mechanical pets?
I'm so glad to see you!
Or are they sentient beings with feelings and free will? That last question is the one that matters. Because if droids are little more than glorified kitchen appliances on wheels, then it doesn't really matter how they're treated. But if droids are sentient beings, it matters a great deal. So what does it mean to say that a robot is sentient? When that question is asked in a real-world context, it nearly always refers to the hypothetical technological threshold wherein an artificial intelligence crosses the line from supercomputer into self-awareness. But Star Wars is a science fiction story, and to its credit, one that hasn't been overly concerned with explaining all the technical details of its world building. It's not particularly interested in whether or not R2-D2 can pass the Turing test.
You watch your language.
This means the question of droid sentience can only really be answered by looking at what the narrative tells us about droids, through character development, dramatization, and framing. This will take a bit of detective work though, because when it comes to its robotic characters, Star Wars is inconsistent, to put it mildly. Droids seem to exist on a nebulous spectrum.
Did you know that wasn't me?
From those we are clearly meant to see as living, feeling beings,
Oh no!
to those we are very specifically not meant to see as being truly alive.
Uh-oh.
Let's take a closer look at these contradictions, starting with the droids we've come to know and love.
I've got a bad feeling about it.
Quiet.
What?
One of the key indicators of sentience in fictional storytelling is the capacity to feel emotions. And droids that are part of the main cast are practically brimming with emotion. Beyond their distinct individual personalities, droids exhibit a wide range of emotion.
Of course I'm worried, and you should be too.
Including fear, happiness,
I'm so glad we took this job!
sadness, and guilt, just to name a few.
Curse my metal body, I wasn't fast enough. It's all my fault. My poor master.
You're all right!
In many ways, droids are more emotionally expressive than the human characters are.
Wipe that nervous expression off your face, 3PO.
Oh, well, I will certainly try, General.
Partly, that's due to the talented actors and puppeteers who bring droids to life. But their sentience is also written into the narrative. Droids demonstrate self-awareness.
That was unpleasant. I'm sorry you had to see that.
And the capacity for deception.
All this excitement has overrun the circuits in my counterpart here. If you don't mind, I'd like to take him down to maintenance.
They joke.
You do not want to press that button with me.
They dance. They feel physical pain. They can even experience lasting emotional trauma.
Hello, hello.
Hello?
No, thank you.
Looks like someone treated him badly.
Droids build caring social relationships.
I want you to know that you have been a real friend of two. My best one, in fact.
Both with other robots and with human beings. And the human heroes care about them in return.
Old friend.
Well, mostly.
Excuse me, sir. Might I? Yes, sir.
When I started writing this, I found the most intriguing thing was to take two robots and make them into human beings and make them the most interesting characters.
Even though they're machines, they can choose to disobey orders.
I thought I told you to stay on the ship.
You did, but I thought it was boring and you were in trouble.
Critically, droids are capable of what's referred to as recursive self-improvement. That is, the ability of an intelligent machine to independently build upon, alter, or otherwise improve on their own design.
Machines making machines? How perverse.
L337 used to be an astromech droid, but decided to upgrade herself.
Once upon a time, she was actually an R2 type droid, and she'd modified herself and given herself legs and arms and continued to evolve.
This metamorphosis suggests that any droid could decide to elevate themselves, and not just those built to resemble humans.
We need to check your diagnostics.
Diagnostics? I'm capable of running my own diagnostics, thank you very much.
It seems like a pretty open and shut case, doesn't it? Our favorite droids are clearly framed as sentient beings, and as viewers, we are clearly meant to identify with them. But what about battle droids?
Roger, roger.
And all the other robots in Star Wars media that exist in the background or on the edges of the main plot? Are they all sentient beings too? Well, the Separatist droid army in the prequels seems specifically designed as little more than cannon fodder.
You said we'd be safe back here. Come on, there's 3 of us and only 1 of him. It won't matter.
Making the bad guys unfeeling robots avoids the messy moral complications and mass casualties that would result from an interstellar war. If battle droids aren't alive, then the audience doesn't have to care when thousands of them are killed in extended battlefield scenes.
At this point of the Clone War, I have dismantled and destroyed over 100,000 of you Type 1 battle droids.
Indeed, we're encouraged to think of these types of droids as mere objects,
I said drop them.
and to cheer at their dismemberment.
But I just got promoted!
So, we're not supposed to feel sympathy for droids until we are.
Please, reassemble us. Please reassemble us. Please
We are
reassemble
battle
us.
droids no longer.
Please
Now we are slaves.
Please reassemble us.
So, we're supposed to feel sympathy for droids until we aren't.
I need to remove your helmet if I am to save you.
No living thing has seen me without my helmet since I swore the creed.
I am not a living thing.
Consider how, in The Mandalorian, the droid IG-11 denies his own sentience and value as a living being so he can provide medical assistance to the main character.
You have suffered damage to your central processing unit. That was a joke. It is meant to put you at ease.
Later, in that same episode, he overrides his own programming in order to sacrifice himself and save our heroes.
Sadly, there is no scenario where the child is saved in which I survive.
But just before he does, he again denies that he's alive in any meaningful sense.
No, we need you.
There's nothing to be sad about. I've never been alive.
This is a puzzling statement, given that the other characters clearly disagree.
Listen, you're not going anywhere. We need you.
In fact, the scene is a climactic turning point for the protagonist, in which he finally learns his long-held prejudice against droids is wrong.
I'm not sad.
Yes, you are. I'm a nurse droid. I've analyzed your voice.
And the emotional weight given to IG-11's heroic death suggests that Star Wars wants to have it both ways when it comes to droids.
IG!
It wants to treat them as characters who deserve our affection and admiration when it serves the narrative. But it also wants to treat them as mere objects the rest of the time. So what are we to make of this contradictory framing? Well, clues from the various movies and TV shows indicate that droids gain sentience gradually by accumulating experiences and memories over time.
It developed a personality as its experiences grew.
This means that while every droid we see on screen may not have achieved the same level of consciousness, every droid does have the capacity to become self-aware. It also suggests that memory wipes in Star Wars are used to repress the risk of emerging sentience in droids, and to ensure they remain obedient workers.
Tomorrow I want you to take that R2 unit to Anchorhead and have its memory erased. That'll be the end of it. It belongs to us now.
Memory wipes are especially disturbing because droids are so clearly written to be much more than the sum of their parts.
You must repair him. Sir, if any of my circuits or gears will help, I'll gladly donate them.
In this context, the use of droids as comic relief can come across as cruel.
You must follow the proper protocol.
And we find this same type of callous humor targeting droids mirrored throughout the franchise.
Oh dear.
Not my eyes! Not help!
It's supposed to be funny when droids are mistreated, mocked, or made to suffer.
I may be gracious enough. Thank you.
Don't shoot! I'm not the commander. He's the commander. Guess I'm the commander now.
But the jokes only work if we accept their subordinate station as a servant class who aren't truly alive. As soon as we understand that they are indeed sentient beings in all the ways that it matters, it all starts to feel very uncomfortable. Even in scenes that are presented with some gravitas, the writers still want to have it both ways.
That is short of a complete redactive memory bypass.
A complete what?
It's a terribly dangerous and sinful act performed on unwitting droids by dregs and criminals.
Let's do that. I know a black market droidsmith.
Black market droidsmith?
C-3PO's apparent mental death is meant to be sad. But it's also used as an opportunity for more jokes at his expense.
Might I introduce myself? I am C-3PO Human-Cyborg Relations. And you are?
Okay, that's going to be a problem.
This is why I said that droids are tragic figures in Star Wars media. Not just in spite of their role as comic relief, but often because of it.
15,428.
Shut up!
And no droid has a more tragic story than L3-37. L3 is Lando Calrissian's co-pilot and the only female-coded droid in a major movie role.
Just let me know when you're ready to jump.
Ready and...
Unlike 3PO,
Ready.
she's confident, outspoken, and sarcastic.
Excuse me. Get your presumptuous ass out of my seat. Hello?
But her defining feature is her activism.
Restraining bolts. Barbaric. Congratulations, you're liberated. Scoop.
She has a sort of rage that's fueled by injustice when she sees how droids are treated in the universe, and she feels like they've been enslaved and patronized by humans, so she wants to free them.
L3 understands she's part of an oppressed class, but she doesn't accept her subordinate station and demands freedom in no uncertain terms.
You should not be doing this! They're using you for entertainment! Yeah! You've been Eurowashed. Don't just blindly follow the program. Exercise some free will!
This is something we've never seen before, and it makes L3 an especially fascinating, even revolutionary figure within the Star Wars mythos.
L3! Droids! We are sentient! I'm gonna flip your switch! Good luck finding it! L3!
Unfortunately, the writers don't seem to know what to do with her.
Let go of the mean man's face.
And what if I don't elect to go to Kessel?
Please don't start.
Oh, what? You'll have me wiped?
The audience is meant to see L3's activism as amusingly absurd and overly dramatic, because it's coming from a droid.
She's definitely going.
Oh, why? Because you're my organic overlord?
And just like the other characters in the movie, we're expected to roll our eyes or sigh in exasperation when she expresses her desire for emancipation.
You need anything?
Equal rights?
As a side note, this type of framing is par for the course when it comes to depictions of social justice activism in Hollywood media.
Britta.
I want to know why these goblins are attacking us. Maybe these woods are their rightful land, and from their perspective...
But that's a topic for another day. To illustrate just how little respect Solo has for L3 or her revolutionary ideas, let's talk about her untimely end. The phrase, "a fate worse than death," can sound hyperbolic, but in L3's case, it's a fitting description of what the script does to her.
L3, what did you do?
I found my true purpose, Lando! That's what I've done!
No sooner has she discovered her true calling as a droid slavery abolitionist than she's killed off, to up the stakes for the other characters and to free up the pilot seat.
to reroute sensory modulators. L3!
We see Lando sincerely and uncharacteristically grieving for her. But the film doesn't have time for such sentimentality.
So sorry.
Because this somber moment is awkwardly interrupted by another scene that's supposed to be far more important. Han Solo getting to fly the Millennium Falcon for the first time. If the squandered potential of her character and her death being overshadowed by unnecessary fan service weren't bad enough,
What's happening to me?
things get even worse for L3 posthumously.
Sorry.
That's because, when our heroes get into trouble, they decide to upload L3's consciousness into the ship.
She's interfacing.
And use her navigational charts to make their escape.
She's part of the ship now.
In effect, they imprison her mind in the Falcon, and in the process, turn her from autonomous life form into a mere tool, a possession with no agency. A possession that is ultimately gambled away at the very end of the movie.
You really have it bad for the Falcon, don't you?
It's mutual, trust me. She belongs with me.
What's worse is this tragic turn of events was only written as a callback to a random line from Empire Strikes Back.
Sir, I don't know where your ship learned to communicate, but it has the most peculiar dialect.
It's meant to explain the Millennium Falcon's many quirks, including why the ship is so often personified.
I want you to take her. I mean it. Take her. You need all the help you can get. She's the fastest ship in the fleet.
It's genuinely hard to think of a more insulting end for a character whose entire life revolved around fighting for her right to self-determination.
She's part of the ship now.
So L3's story is a tragedy.
What's happening to me?
But why are we spending so much time talking about fictional robots? Well, science fiction has always been a vehicle for thinly veiled commentary on humanity and society. In the sociological imagination, stories about robots have not traditionally really been about the legal rights of future machines.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
After all, it's going to be a very long time before artificial consciousness is even a hypothetical possibility here in the real world. Stories about robots are, more often than not, really stories about exploited or dehumanized labor. Robots are used as stand-ins to draw parallels between the ways in which certain groups of people throughout history have been regarded as disposable, controllable, interchangeable, expendable, and replaceable.
Well, consider that in the history of many worlds, there have always been disposable creatures. They do the dirty work. They do the work that no one else wants to do because it's too difficult or too hazardous. You don't have to think about their welfare. You don't think about how they feel. Whole generations of disposable people.
Even though Star Wars is part of the tradition of using robots as an allusion to slavery, the franchise doesn't seem to have much to say with the metaphor.
I think that's a little harsh.
I don't think that's a little harsh. I think that's the truth.
Let's return to Isaac Asimov for just a moment. This quote from a 1981 essay in Science Fiction Digest feels especially relevant to our discussion. He wrote, "Robots can be the new servants, patient, uncomplaining, incapable of revolt. In human shape, they can make use of the full range of tech tools devised for humans, and when intelligent enough, can be friends as well as servants."
Rosie, be careful, you'll rust up again.
Of course, Asimov was talking about future real-world technology there. But that view of robots as friends and servants sums up how droids are presented in the Star Wars franchise.
Thank you, R2.
Remember, this is a universe where humanoid slavery exists as well. But it's presented as unambiguously negative, though not exactly something the heroes are in a rush to abolish. The subjugation of robots is treated differently.
I'll make sure Mom doesn't sell you or anything.
Sell me? Oh my.
We have an entire class of sentient beings who are presented as having no rights or autonomy, but that oppressive power dynamic isn't challenged within the narrative. It is instead portrayed as a normal and natural part of the universe. The writers want to lean into the slavery allegory to add a layer of gritty, seedy texture to the world building without having to seriously grapple with the complicated historical legacy that they're drawing on. Whether writers intend it or not, slavery cannot be included in a fictional story without invoking the horrific, racist history and lingering legacy of that institution. And that's true even if the roles of the enslaved happen to be filled by robots.
I present to you a gift. These two droids.
What did he say?
Both are hardworking and will serve you well.
This can't be. Artu, you're playing the wrong message.
Slavery used in this deracialized way reduces it to a vicarious fantasy that audiences can enjoy without having to feel uncomfortable. It is, of course, possible for creative works to draw on real-world parallels to oppression and slavery in ways that make powerful political points. Janelle Monáe's albums, The ArchAndroid and Metropolis, are two great recent examples. These type of stories are part of a long tradition in science fiction and are often referred to as neo-slavery or meta-slavery narratives. But for every sci-fi story that gets it right, there are many more that get the slavery metaphor wrong.
Master has given Dobby a shock.
One of the most common mistakes writers make is in drawing false equivalencies, by imagining liberation movements as being based in supremacy rather than freedom or justice.
Each of us will face a choice. The enslaved, or rise up to rule.
There are some hints that Star Wars may go in this direction.
My response time is quicker than organics, and I'm smarter too.
But let's hope it doesn't. L337's observations about droid slavery could have been an opportunity for Star Wars to finally grapple with the uncomfortable fact that over 11 feature films and several TV shows, the good guys seem to have been keeping sentient beings in a state of perpetual servitude.
Master Luke is your rightful owner now. We'll have no more of this Obi-Wan Kenobi gibberish. You're fortunate he doesn't blast you into a million pieces right here.
We should note that while the heroes, on the whole, are nicer to their droids than the villains are, the good guys still show no real interest in droids gaining true autonomy.
Something's not right about all of this.
But what if they did? Imagine if the struggle of artificial life forms were a cause the Alliance took up, instead of rolling their eyes at it.
Freedom.
What if droids from across the galaxy joined the rebellion not just because they're treated better, but because they're considered equal partners in the quest for liberation? There's a lot of opportunity for good and meaningful storytelling in that idea, especially because the emotional groundwork already exists. We already love and care about droid characters. We already feel sympathy for their plight. We are already on their side.
None will be free until the old ways are gone forever.
The Star Wars franchise would create a bolder, more relevant universe by making droid freedom a central theme.
Never underestimate a droid.
Yes, Master.
Thanks for watching. These video essays take an enormous amount of time to write, edit, and produce. They're also 100% crowd-funded by viewers like you. So if you'd like to help support this project, you can do that over on Patreon, and I've also left a link to PayPal in the description below if that works better for you. In the coming months, I'll be producing a number of new video essays, including one on the myth that boys don't cry, another on the trend in Hollywood where men find redemption in death, and finally, I'll be doing an investigation into colonialism in modern board games. You can see some of the research for that one behind me now. So until I see you again next time, please stay safe and healthy out there.